That was insane.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. I'm here with Shane Murray from Ireland and Jules Aguirre from Colombia. And my name's Lee Jones from Flint, Wales. Now, guys, normally we're having a laugh and a joke on the channel, but also, you know, bit of this, bit of that. But today we actually want to have a serious chat with all you young footballers out there, no matter where you are from around the world. You obviously would have clicked on this video for a reason, from the title and the thumbnail. We want to try and give you some advice on how to prepare for trials, how to maximize your trial, what you should be doing in your trials, and also we want to talk about how you can deal with rejection as well, using some of our personal stories. One thing that I want to get really clear though, this is just general advice. We're not telling you exactly you should be doing this, you should be doing that. We're going to give you advice on some of the stuff that we've been through and what we've seen. I don't know about you guys, but I've done trials for clubs as well.
Yeah.
So I've been a coach where I've done trials for clubs and I know what they want, what they're looking for.
Oh, like you've run trials.
I've run trials before, and I've also been in trials as well, obviously.
Yeah.
So myself, Jules, and Shane, all coming from different backgrounds, are going to give you guys advice, and you can use that advice however you want. You might agree or disagree with some of the stuff that we're saying. We just want to try and help, in particular, the players that we work with within Australia, because right now it's coming up to trial season in Australia, and when we're doing our private sessions on the field, the questions are already starting to come up from players and parents about trials, how they should approach them, etc. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before we do that though, if you're new to our channel, it would mean a lot, myself and the boys, if you can hit that subscribe button. We've just become verified on YouTube, guys, which is something that is massive.
Yeah.
So if you're new to our channel, just hit that subscribe button. It is free. Okay guys, as you would have seen on the screen, 5 preparation tips that you can do leading up to your trial, knowing that you've got one coming up. Julesy, reel us off with number 1.
Preparation. That is exactly the list, but preparation in terms of what you do on the field in the couple of weeks leading up to the trial. So we're talking obviously about if you have a trial that you know about for 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, you can start training and preparing yourself on the field, whether it's on your own, with your mates, maybe even with a private coach, with a coach that can prepare you to the trial. Obviously a little bit different if you get called up for a late trial the night before. You have to be ready to go. But if you do know that you have a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, it's very important that you obviously start preparing on the field for that football-wise.
Fantastic. Shane, what would you recommend then is good training amount of sessions that they should be doing leading up to that trial?
I feel like if you're in the position where your season's coming to the end and you know that you're going to be trialing, that I don't think there's going to be no off season for you. So I feel like you should constantly be staying fit. I obviously, depending on different levels of fitness, some people might have just finished the season and they don't need lots of training. They just need maybe a couple of top-up sessions. But obviously, just depending on where you are. But a couple of runs, stuff with the ball, and it kind of obviously suits on how you feel and where you fit in your schedule, really. But
yeah, I think it's really important to keep the training that you're doing position specific as well, to the position that you're going to go in trial. So for example, if you're a centre back, going down the field and doing 1 hour of shooting is going to be no good for you. So you want to be trying to do game realistic training that's going to suit you ready for your trial. So a lot of position specific training is very, very good. My advice on that is there's no such thing as there's not enough training. So listen to your body. If you feel great, get a session in. The more sessions you're going to get in, the more confident you're going to feel going into the trial.
Yeah. For me, number 1, you got to be fit. So you've got to be fit.
You can't get tired 10-15 minutes into the trial, like be blowing. You're going to be done. So
yeah, go into the trial being fit, ready to run, loads of energy, and that'll give you your best chance of obviously doing well.
Fantastic. Right. That probably leads on really well to number 2, which is how well are you preparing your body and your mind for that session. So we were just talking off the camera there. nutrition, hydration, how good is your sleep leading up to that trial, and that is so important in order for you to maximise your session in terms of looking after your body, to maximise it, Jules.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, like you're stretching your prehab as well, just making sure that when you wake up that morning,
You
you feel fresh. I think that's the biggest thing, feeling fresh.
I think though with that as well, it starts like a couple of days before as well. Don't
sure.
just leave it the night before to eat like a good meal and start to drink water. Like we done a podcast and Neil said that it's got to start a couple of days before that and try and get your body ready to go. You know.
Yeah. Remember, guys, these are all like the little 1-2%ers that are gonna put you in the best preparation ready for the trial. Leading on to number 3, and this is probably, for me, it's probably one of the biggest ones, Shane, is if I'm a coach and you've turned up late to a trial, straight away it's a cross next to your name, because I know that 95% of coaches out there, they want to work with players that are coachable. And showing that you've got bad punctuality is just not a great start, guys. And again, that is all down to preparation. So have you actually mapped out how far the field is from your house? Have you anticipated how bad the traffic's going to be? There's no excuse for being late to a trial. If anything, you should be turning up 15 to half an hour early, and that shows that you're eager and ready to go. Yeah. Anything I've missed on that, Jules?
No, I think that's actually a very underrated one. It's so underrated, because obviously as coaches, even with our sessions, if someone shows up late straight away, like,
it is frustrating.
Not up to it already. You know what I mean, Shane?
And if you're young and you don't drive and you're relying on your parents,
make sure you're on the back.
That's it. If you're relying on your parents to get there, you've got to get them on the same page as you in terms of being on time. If you get in public transport, you just have to be prepared, guys. You have to be prepared. Get there. Always aim, if the trial's at 5, aim to get there for 4. Or even 3:30. Give yourself loads of time. Turning up late is a huge cross, guys. That's a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
That's so important. Number 4, Shane's favourite. You have to, guys, I'm very big on this one as well, Shane.
Massive.
Yeah. This is one of your favourite ones.
But you know, as a coach, when even what we do every day, when you see a new player come to us, like the first impression you have is what they look like.
You're always
even when they get out of the car and they're walking towards you. For me, you can tell straight away if they're a player or they're not a player. A couple of times, every now and then, you might be a bit surprised, but straight away, if you look like a footballer, that's a tick straight away. So for me, that's massive.
I'll just use an example. We had a new player last week. He turned up really early, looked like a footballer, kit was good, boots were clean, but straight away got his own equipment out to start doing his own activation. Straight away I knew that he was going to be a good player. And you know, I shouldn't judge him on that, but I just knew that his preparation was good. He was ticking all the boxes straight away.
Yeah.
And then he ended up actually being technically really good in the session. So, Jules, anything we've missed on that?
No, I think as a footballer, especially on trials, but generally you're always being judged anyway. From the moment like coach sets eyes on you, you're going to be judged, and that's something that you have to accept. Yeah. So obviously, looking like a footballer, creating that first good impression is very, very important. Even more so at trials, so you can stand out. Because there'll also be a lot of people rocking up at trials that are going to be like a bit iffy.
Yeah.
So if you can get that edge already without even stepping on the field,
so
that's really good.
So if you were a player then, boys, what if you were going for a trial with a club that you didn't know anyone in, what would you wear to the trial?
I would avoid wearing like football kits. I just, especially if it's like a team that you've played for previously.
That's a big one I was going to say.
Big one.
Yeah.
I know we're not asking you to go out and spend money, but if you've got like a blank Nike t-shirt or any other brand, something that's super simple, because if you go there with a jersey on from a team that you played for, they're going to judge you on that. And it's just not a good look. So for me, I'd make sure that obviously my clothes are clean. I would go for basic, just branded stuff, but more importantly, my boots are clean. Boots are clean.
I'd go, if it was me, I'd go neutral colours, so like black or white, like black shorts and like white socks or black socks. Like I wouldn't go like yellow, blue.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No hats.
This is important. So I feel like go like black and white socks. Like you can't go far wrong there.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. And long socks as well. Would you wear or?
Yeah, long socks or tennis socks. I like the tennis socks.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends, but obviously a lot of the trials you're going to be playing matches, which
Yeah,
maybe the coach is going to look for shin
It's a
guards.
good point, Shane.
If you have ankle socks on, then
She needs
Nah,
to get out.
avoid
so
the ankle
for
socks,
me,
guys.
I think football
Oh.
socks, white or black shorts or probably black shorts and white or black.
No, Shane, that's actually a massive one because we were saying how you've done trials before. I actually did trials 2 years ago as well, like as a coach. But even as a player, guys, like, do not rock up with ankle socks.
No.
Ankle socks do not exist for football. Do not train. Do not rock up for trials in ankle socks. For
So-
me, that is huge.
So ankle socks means like the ones that like
At your ankles and
yeah, but so
The
when I-
shorts.
when I
the
say
shorts,
ankle
yeah.
socks, like I mean like, do you know?
Nah, he's the tennis ones.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
saying
tennis.
you
I
call
call
them
them
tennis
That's
the
like
socks.
your calf socks.
I'll put some pictures up on the screen for everyone to see that. But these are all just little things that we as coaches that have done trials, we actually look out for these things because image is really, really, really important. So we've actually elaborated a lot on that, but that's really important, guys. Moving on to number 5.
Number 5 is visualize what you're gonna do on that field. This is probably a big mental one. We talk a lot about, preparing the body, preparing how you're gonna look physically. This is a mental one. Start visualizing the positive things that you're actually gonna do on trial. And with your same position specific, think about the things that you'll do in your position. As a centre back, am I gonna get tight to my player? Am I gonna win my headers? Am I gonna be good with the ball? I think that's important. Just have that positivity about you when you rock up.
100%.
I think also Don, and I know when I was a kid trialing a lot as well. Sometimes I'd overthink it, and it'd just consume my mind. Like, and it's not. I just couldn't think of anything else. Like I'd be just there, like the days before, and I'd probably just, completely just blow my head up. So I feel like definitely try and visualize it, and like try and visualize doing well. I always used to try and visualize, like doing good stuff, like good passes, good dribbles and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because if I sit there too much, like
Just
you get
especially on
that
the
worry,
day, just
100%.
as you're going to your trial in your car, whatever, just that. But I'm talking about just thinking positive things, not that.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I've got a trial, gotta do this perfect, gotta do this.
Negative, yeah.
Have a good mindset. Visualize the good little positive things that you can do
Yeah.
at the trial to give you a better chance.
I'm going to add in a little bonus as well is if you do all of them things, that's going to give you a lot of confidence. And coaches look for confident players. Players that are confident in their ability, they back their ability. Those are the players that do well in trials. Players that have their confidence and they know what they can bring to their team. I want to add in a little bonus because I feel like this does come before the trial because we're obviously going to get into the fact that we're going to talk about what you should be doing in the trial. But I feel like this is a big one and I feel like it can also let a lot of players down. You should be going in there with 3 choices of positions that you can play. Because most clubs are searching for maybe 1 or 2 positions. You need to be open and versatile to the fact that you might not be able to get the spot that you want in your favourite position. So we always say to our players, have your number 1 favourite position, 2nd favourite, 3rd favourite, and personally I wouldn't go any more than that.
Yeah.
We're not like a James Milner for Liverpool who can play absolutely everywhere, but I feel like that can let players down sometimes. You're like, I'm a number 10 and that's it.
Yeah.
And then you go into Barcelona and you're like, well, Messi's our number 10 and you've got absolute no chance of taking his spot. So you've got to have a plan B, which is, coach, I can also play in this position too. And then if someone's like, oh, we're looking for a left back, because I've been in trials before when the coach has actually
Put your hand up.
Put your hand up.
Yeah, the coach has actually come out and said, need a left back. If you're not a left back, chuck your hand up and just get in there and play. Do you know what I mean? Because you could go and razzle and then they could be like, oh, where can you play? And you'd be like, oh, my favourite position's actually here. So that's, go into the trial, just be a little bit more open to playing different positions as well, because that can kill you.
Definitely.
Good.
Moving on to what we should be doing in the trial. Let's go. Okay guys, moving on. 10 bits of advice that we believe is going to help you to maximise your trial in no particular order. So we're going to reel off things that we've seen as a coach and things that we've done as a player to maximise that time. Julesy, you're going to fire us off.
Like it. My first one, pretty simple one, pretty common, but I think you have to be vocal. So once you're on the field, you have to, first of all, you have to win the ball. Yeah? Communicate to players around, little things like men on, time, switch, any sort of communication, because straight away as a coach, if I hear someone talking, I'm like, oh, who's that guy?
Yeah.
And then from there on, you can start showing what you're about on the ball.
One big one that I was when I was watching trials was who wants to get on the ball. Like, who's shying away from the ball and who's moving off the ball to try and get on.
Yeah.
Like, that was huge for me.
There's like, exactly what you two boys have just said there. But there is a line where you're just talking for the sake.
Yeah, it can be a busy guy.
Do you know what I mean? And that's easily picked out as well. Yeah. So you don't need to be a commentator. And for me, one thing you don't do is you don't comment on what other people, what's going on in the trial. Focus on what you're doing. But if someone gives the ball away, you don't say nothing.
No,
do you know what I mean? It's not up to you. So definitely like give information about the game and information to the players around you to help you in the trial.
Just especially like that for yourself, demand the ball.
Yeah.
Just simple. I feel like for you, Shane, that's spot on. You don't want to overdo it, but just showing that you want the ball is enough for me. And then communicating with the players in and around your position is huge.
And it's always got to be positive for me.
Yeah.
If you start hammering people, okay, coach will pick that straight away.
Okay, number 2, over to Shane.
Okay, so when you get actually on the field or before the warm, be alert and be like focused on what's going on around you. I know I've been in trials where you see people just come on and they're in their own world, and the coach could say something or something like midfielders there and you're completely just in your own world. So switch yourself on when you get on and be ready for anything really, because obviously coaches have different ideas what way trials should be run. So get ready to go the minute you step on and be alert to what's happening.
That's going to move on for number 3 for me, Shane. One of the tips for that, and I am massive on it, and the boys will know because I coach it in the camps and stuff, is just eye contact. General eye contact with the coach just shows that you're actually engaged in what they're saying. And that's a big one. Shane's saying be alert. The way you can be alert is making eye contact. And he could just say something so simple and you might miss it. That could be a whole trial done. Because like I said at the start, everyone wants to work with players that are coachable. So just make eye contact with the coach or coaches. They ask you to do something, just do it. It's what we want.
I just want to add something to what Shane said because I think that's a really good one. And obviously, I think most youth trials tend to be like, obviously you rock up, they split you into teams and you play football. But I think sometimes if you go to a good trial or a good team, I remember when I was a little bit younger, I went to trial for Sutherland Sharks MPL 1. So obviously it's senior football, so it's not going to be an open trial with 50 players. You might have, there was about 6 of us joining the first grade to train, and you just join the normal session. So you have to do what they will do preparing for the week anyway. That was your trial, because obviously they want to see if you can fit into that team. And we were doing a passing exercise that was quite complex, to be fair. So if you weren't attentive to pick up the pattern really quickly, it was always going to break down at your position, and it was very easy to see. And in just that passing practice from that session, 4 players got cut straight away. Not necessarily because they weren't good, but it just kept breaking out where they were because it was a complicated passing drill. So like Shane said, if you're not attentive, if you're not listening to the coach, eye contact, and something that we talk a lot about in our sessions about picking up the drills really quickly, or picking up the exercises, just that will get you out the door.
100%.
So this couple of players didn't even get the chance to really show what they're about because they just kept breaking down the drill.
And you gotta be tactical as well. So say if you're doing, obviously, as you said, a lot of the trials will be just a game, so that's quite easy to pick up. But if you are going into something that's like complicated and you're not too sure, be tactical and like drop out, drop to the back of the line so you can have a look at what's going on. Do you know what I mean? And that's, I've done it once or twice, like everybody.
Yeah.
So you've got it's just you've got to be switched on.
It's massive. I think once you see a player that can't pick up the drills, it's frustrating for a coach. It's frustrating.
And the players around you will let you know as well. Like if you're joining an environment that's already set, if you're not just playing a game, like the players around you will be like, these guys miles off it.
I think we're going to put that as number 4, Jules. Being able to pick things up quickly. Okay, guys, number 5, Shane up.
Again, I'll just keep it simple. Just have positive body language. So, a really good coach when I was young. Coming up, he took me under his wing, and that was one of the tips that he always said to me in trials. Must give positive body language, whether it's going well or it's going bad. You still have the same chin up, chest back, and still try and get on the ball, try and do your best. Because you see, obviously, when things ain't going well, sometimes people hunch over or hands on their knees and stuff. And for me, that's a big thing. So just positive body language, regardless of how it's going.
It's a cracking one, Shane. Okay, guys, number 6 is a big one for me, and I've used this one in trials that I've done as a player. If you're going into an 11v11 game, now most trials will always end up in a game. Some of the trials that I've done will start off with drills to see which players can actually pick up the drills and can actually do them. Then some of the trials I've done have gone into a bit of possession and then into a game. But it should always finish within like an 8v8 or 11v11 game so they can actually see you in a game. So, for example, if I'm going into a trial as a right back, I always made sure that I knew the right-sided centre-back, the midfielder and the right winger, just the players that were in and around my position, and the goalkeeper as well is a big one because you want to be looking to get the ball off the goalkeeper if you're a fullback. I just made sure that I knew those players' names so that it would help me maximise my potential, because let's face it, it's sometimes really hard to stand out as an individual in the games. You've got to be able to work with the players in and around your position.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you might have players that are not quite at your level or maybe better, but the idea is that you understand that you're going to have to try and work with the players on that day, and you're going to not know anyone. You might be lucky enough that you might know some of them, but 90% of the time you don't know the players. So if the coach is like, right, there's that team, quickly use that time to just get to know the players' names so that when you're working, you can communicate with them and maximise your trial.
Like it.
100%.
Agsy, number 7.
Kind of leads on well from your one. I think the big one is once you're on the field and the game started, you know everyone's names. The first couple of touches or the first couple of actions that you have on the ball, just keep it simple. Make sure they're successful. Will just build your confidence for the rest of the trial. So, for example, myself, I've always trialed as a midfielder. I've always played as a midfielder. So I always focus on my first couple of passes just being nice and short, successful, left to right, right to left, whatever it may be. And then what that also builds is the players around you start to trust you, and they start playing you the ball more. Which is very important in a trial, that you get the ball as much as you can. So it's just like something that happens subconsciously with the players around you. The better you are, they just kind of start fitting.
That's actually just brought back some memories of trials that I had when I first come to Australia. Didn't really know nothing about the football there, but I always remember going into a trial with Appiah. I think there was about 4,000 people coming in for trials, but straight away I made connections with the players that could play. There was some players there obviously that weren't cut out for that level, but that's just reminded me that if you do keep it simple and show that you can play a little bit, you'll get the ball more. Yeah. And let's face it, being on the ball, showing this coaches what you can do is what you need to be able to do in trials.
Get the trust of the players around you.
Jules, that's actually a massive one, which is going to lead on to number 8, Shane, for me. We might even go past 10 because I'm thinking of loads of different ones as well. But just going back to what I said, being able to get on the ball is huge because you've got to be able to show the coaches what you can do. How do you get on the ball? You got to have clever movement. So for me, you got to constantly be looking to get on the ball as much as you can, whether it's a possession drill or in your games. That's so important. Don't get me wrong, in games sometimes a game can pass you by and sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, but the coaches will be looking to see if you're actually still trying to get on it with clever movement, you know. I looked at that a lot when I was doing trials, especially for young players. Straight away, if I see a player that is just ball watching and not moving off the ball, it shows that they don't really have good intelligence of the game, and it just shows that they're not actually looking to get on it. So there might be times where you're making great runs, great movement, and you don't get it, but the coach should be marking a tick next to your name because you're making great runs and you're still looking to try and get on the ball. So that's a big one for me, is movement off the ball and look to get on the ball as much as possible. Okay, guys, number 9. This is a really, really big one for me, Shane. Cracker one from you.
So again, just from experience, I think depending on how the trial's gone, I think your reactions have to be right. Again, whether it's gone well or it's gone bad. I think if you lose the ball, can you react and get it? Can you get it back? If your team isn't doing well, can you still be trying to get on the ball and trying to do the right things rather than just kind of giving up, which people might do.
Goes back to body language.
Yeah, so I think your reactions have to be right, and yeah, hopefully that will help you.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
on what you're saying, it's important to remember that if hopefully the coach that is, or the coaches that are watching the trials are obviously doing the right thing, they should be looking at you as an individual rather than looking at the team that you're playing with. So even if, as Lee says, you might be with players around you that aren't as good and maybe they're making a lot of mistakes, and if you allow yourself to get dragged down by that, then it's not going to look good on you. But if you try and like stay positive, still get on the ball, try and do the right things, a good coach that's watching should be able to see that anyway.
Well, that's it, because like you're trialing on your own, really. Do you know what I mean? So if you're doing the right things, like you can't affect how the other player plays.
Yeah.
So that's why you've got to have that mindset. But even if your team is struggling, say in the game, you still got a chance. Do you know?
For sure.
And you've got to have that mindset to be positive.
Love it, Shane. I'm going to finish with a really simple one, guys. The last one, number 10, is enjoy it. Enjoy it. Play with a smile on your face. I think what I've done in the past as well, and what I've seen players do, is they just let the occasion get the better of them. And you then struggle to show your true potential. So go into it with sort of a mindset of I've got nothing to lose. Go in there, enjoy it. I mean, if you let the trial and the occasion get the better of you, you're not in the right mindset, you're not in the right positive frame to go in and again maximise that trial. So a big one for me, guys, is smile. Show that you just love football. You know, enjoy the trial. No, there's no such thing as a perfect trial. Honestly, it just doesn't exist. You can do all these things that we're saying, plus more. There's no such thing. There's going to be one thing that's going to go wrong in that trial. So how you react to it is very, very important. There is always going to be one thing that we've mentioned that's going to go wrong. Okay? The one thing that you've really got to avoid, though, is the preparation side. In the trial, things are going to go wrong. But before the trial, that's all down to you and your preparation. Like, you can't afford for one of them things to go wrong. So that's all down to you.
I found with the preparation thing, if I'd done everything right off the field, no matter how it went on the field, I could come off and go, alright, like at least I gave myself a chance, do you know?
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't do the right things off the field, like with your preparation, when you go on the field, you come off and then you can go, I didn't sleep properly. Do you know what I mean?
There's a bit of regret.
What could I have done? But if you do everything right to give yourself the best chance, well then you can come off and be like, all right,
I did everything.
It might have went as well as I wanted it, but I done my best.
You done everything right.
Yeah.
That's a great point, guys. You could do everything right and it still might not be successful. Okay, guys, that leads on to just the last little bit of this video. If you got this far, then we really appreciate it, and we really hope that we're making a difference within your trials and within your footballing career. So the last thing we want to talk about, and we're going to use maybe some of our personal experiences, is how to deal with an unsuccessful trial, or maybe you've been released from your football club, because this is part and part of the game. It happens, you can't shy away from it. I've been released from football clubs before. It's not a nice feeling. Jules has, Shane has, and I'm sure a lot of you guys that are watching the video have as well. So I would just like to talk about some of my experiences, how I dealt with it, how I got through it, and sort of come out on the other side as well, because in the modern game, it's happening a lot now. Players are getting released, or you might not have a successful trial, and how you deal with it is so important. So I hope that the advice that me, Jules and Shane give you will help you. I'm going to start us off, boys, by saying if I've had an unsuccessful trial, so we'll talk about the unsuccessful trial to start off with, and then maybe being released, because I feel like they are two different things.
Yeah.
Being released from a club that you've maybe been at for such a long time,
Yeah,
is quite a hard pill to swallow. Whereas like having an unsuccessful trial at a club that you've only been at for 5 minutes is for me is a complete different feeling. So when I've gone at clubs that I wanted to sign and it was an unsuccessful trial, for me personally as a player, I would always try and seek feedback from the coach if they can, if that coach can give me feedback, because in terms of my development as a player, I want to know why it was unsuccessful. And it could be a little thing like we're full in that position, or this or that. But if it's anything to do with like technical or tactical, I want to know so I can go away and work on that side of my game. Because there's two ways you can go about it. You can have the attitude of, oh, I'm just going to throw in the towel, or you can try and have a positive reaction and be like, right, I'm going to try and get some feedback and go away and work on it. And clubs might see that as well, to show that you're keen to learn and get better, and then maybe potentially sign in the future. So if I had an unsuccessful trial as a player, I never just thought, all right, cheers, thanks. I always wanted to try and get some feedback. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think we've got to accept, like, and we all know this because we've had careers in the game, but it's part of football. Like, it is part of football, getting rejected or getting released and not getting what you want. It's just part of football. Everybody needs to accept that. And just going back to trials in, say, for the players in Australia, my experience is sometimes you're trialing there, and sometimes you're probably trialing for one spot between 50 people. So, like, straight away, like, especially obviously if you're trying to go to a higher level or a better team or whatever, it's going to be very hard straight away. So the chances are that you might not make that spot, or you don't quite fit what they're looking for, and you can't take that too much to heart.
Yeah.
And as you said, you can't let that just completely like demolish you, and then your confidence is gone. Do you know what I mean? You can be positive, and as we went through earlier, if you've done everything right, well then you just got to move on, and go again, because at the end of the day, there's no point in letting that get you down.
So for me, it's really easy for us to stand here and say that, like, don't let it get you down. But the reality is, it's going to get you down a little bit. So I'm going to say how I dealt with it. A big one for me was just being able to get around my family and friends and loved ones, especially when I was getting released from a club. It's so easy for sometimes people to say, oh, don't worry about it. But if it means a lot to you, it's hard to get away from that feeling. But I think it's really, really important to speak to someone that you're not feeling right. Talk to people, talk to your family, talk to your best friend or whoever it is that you feel comfortable with, and just release it. I always remember being released from Wrexham. Don't laugh, lads, I know.
Wrexham.
I got released from Wrexham, and obviously I was at that club for like 8 years, so that is such a hard pill to swallow compared to being not getting accepted with the team that I've been with for 5 minutes. So when I got released from a club, it was such a tough feeling to take as a young player, because I was only 17, 18 at the time. But just having my support from my family and friends made it a lot easier. And I saw the sort of person I am. I had the attitude of, well, I'm going to try and go somewhere else and prove them wrong. So it sort of gave me the motivation to keep going. I understand people are different in the way that they react, but for me, I just got around my loved ones, and I tried to move on from it quickly and try to sort of prove them wrong in a way, and try and go to a different club. But that's how I dealt with it. It wasn't easy. It took a long time for me to get over it. But I knew that I loved the game. I knew that I still had a long career in front of me. So I just kept trying, kept going, and that's all we can do. Like Shane said, it is a part of the game that we can't hide from, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Jules, what about your personal experiences?
I think, well, I'll touch on two things. Firstly, like specifically for trials, so going to a trial for a club. I think one thing that I always tried to do with myself, especially as I got older, like 16, 17, is whenever I went to a trial, I was always very, very honest with myself in terms of my performance. Whether I'd made it or whether in this case I wasn't successful, I was always very honest. I didn't try and say, oh, but this happened, or the coach this, or this player that. I said, okay, did I not make it because I just did not perform good enough today? Or did I make it because I did perform good enough? Yeah. And sometimes you actually experience both in an opposite way. What I mean by that is, sometimes I've had a trial just a couple of years ago where I actually performed really poorly, but they needed players in my position, and I actually ended up making it. And I had a good season, but I had a really poor trial period for 2 weeks. I was playing terrible. And then I've had the opposite of that, where I've had a really, really, really good trial where I actually went and trialed as a centre back because it's the only position that they had. So I said I could play centre back, but that's what we were talking about.
Centre back can't tackle.
But that's the truth, boys. I went and trialed as a centre back, because they were full in the midfield. And I
Yeah.
said, I can play as a centre back. And I did, I had one of my best trial periods. And I was very honest with myself when they said, oh, look, we're not going to sign you because we can
Can't
tell you're
tackle.
not a centre back. but I was like, I went out of there, I was like, I was obviously upset because
Yeah.
I knew that I had done well and I actually thought that I was better than the players that they had in my position. But I knew that all I had to do was just move on and find somewhere else.
Did you ask for feedback?
No. Yeah, there wasn't much to ask because they were very honest with me. They said, look, we feel like you've done well, but we're looking for a specific centre back that can play that position and regularly start. So I was like, okay, fair enough. Like in my head, I was kind of like, and I think a lot of players can probably go through this. It's like, well, yeah, you have a play in that position, but if I'm better than them, why aren't you taking me?
Yeah.
And you have to be able to learn that maybe that just doesn't work that way. So I was able to move on from that really quickly just because I knew that I had played well and it wasn't my fault.
I really like that, Jules. So you're saying like
You have to be very honest with yourself.
be realistic.
In terms of, your performance. Yeah.
Be realistic.
Yeah, be
If you've had a really bad trial, you have to be realistic. Like,
Yeah,
and it happens, mate. It happens.
it does happen.
And again, you might go away thinking, geez, but I was better than that guy. But then you have to be honest, yeah, but maybe I didn't show it for whatever reason. Maybe my preparation wasn't good. Maybe I didn't do the right things at the trial. So and I think that comes to everything in life, just be very honest with yourself in terms of why something happened. In this case, an unsuccessful trial. Like you do have to try and be really, really honest. And then the second one, which you already touched on anyway, but I really like it and I agree, is if you get released from a place where you had a lot of attachment to, where you feel like you could build a career there, it's very, very hard, but you have to find a way to find your next step. Where am I going next? What am I going to do next?
Just gotta get back on the bike.
You have
Go
to.
again.
You have to. There's so many opportunities in football, whether it's professional or semi-professional. That's resilience, Shane. Resilience.
A coach once said to me was, you can never be comfortable in football. So if you're comfortable somewhere at a club, that can change like that. Like whether it's an injury or released or whatever. So never be comfortable there because football is constantly changing for all them different reasons. So be prepared for it. And if it goes against you, as I said, you got to get back on your bike and you got to go again because you're the only one that's going to do it.
And sometimes that might mean, you know what, I might have to take a step down or two.
I was just about to say that.
That's part of
but
it.
it's the
Do you know what I
reality.
mean?
I've done, boys, I've done it. I'm sure you boys have. Well, you boys have definitely done it. You know.
One step back,
But
two
you have
steps
to.
forward, bro.
Yeah. And you but you'll find
Guys,
somewhere you're gonna enjoy your
I
football
want to
again
talk
and
about
perform.
that. That is huge, and I'm just yeah, it's very hot in it. I want to talk about that, Jules.
Yeah.
If I've just been released, if I use Wrexham, right? Wrexham were in League One at the time. Wrexham beat me. Wrexham were League One at the time. I got released. I'm not going to go and try and trial for Championship and Premier League clubs. Don't get me wrong. If it comes about,
It's not happening.
I'll take it, but it's not going to happen because if you're getting released from that level, it's very slim that you're going to be able to go above that. So just using what Shane just said there, it is massive, and I've done this in my career. You might have to take a step down to show people what you can do, to then take the step up. And the best example for that, and you guys are going to laugh, is Jordie Barrett. He went down a level, banged in so many goals, and then eventually signed for North Shore Mariners. He jumped up the level, and that's because you go down the level and show people that you can score goals, play well, and then it might happen for you the following year. So,
But that's what for me is go drop down a level and be the best player there, rather than trying to go higher up and not playing or staying in the same league and not playing. Do you know?
Part of that is at any age, just have to let go of your ego a little bit.
Yeah,
'Cause that's down to ego. We all feel like we should be at a certain level. We have to let go of our ego sometimes. As a footballer, what's your priority?
Playing.
Playing. To play. You need to play. You need to be able to show
play
what
for
you're
Wrexham.
Well, you never give up, play. We can get you back there. We can get you
I
back.
can go back. Guys, that's the video. I really hope, I know we chat a lot there, but I'm just going to put this on the YouTube channel as raw as it is, because I know there's a lot of people struggling right now that they've been released. And what I want to say is that we at Joner Football, we're always here to talk to you guys. Drop us an email, even pick up the phone, text us, whatever. We are here to help you if you are struggling and you feel like you're at rock bottom now. We're here to help you, because it is a level for you. You know that you love the game. So many players choose the easy option, which is to quit. We want to be here to help you.
But what we can give is mainly advice like we've given, and then it's up to you guys
To take
you
it,
know?
yeah.
So
So you guys might agree or disagree with some of the stuff that we've said, but this is mainly for our players in Australia. We hope that all our players that we work with in Australia have watched this video, and they can actually start to prepare for their trials. Or if you're a player that has currently just been released, you're not the only person. You're not the only person that's feeling this way, and we are here to talk if you need it and to try and help you.
definitely.
I hope that helped, guys. Anything from you, Shane?
Yeah, if anyone's watching as well, and people jump in the comments and let us know if you have any tips and advice as well.
Experience
Yeah.
and share your own experiences with us, guys. Football is a beautiful game.
It's the world game.
It's the world game. It's
Beautiful.
the game that should be loved. It's the greatest sport.
Tranquilo.
No sport comes close to it
No,
for
it's not.
numbers, for popularity.
Golf.
Golf's up there, but it's not the same numbers as football.